Ta-da! Back where we belong. Well, almost back where we belong. It's midday on Saturday, and I always forget that we lose an hour coming back. For some reason I was hoping we'd gain an hour, but we didn't. So we got here at, I think we came off the tunnel, or we left. Well, there's a small petrol station, coffee shop, as you come out of the tunnel, and we stopped there. I think we came away from there at about 11. And I succumbed to, because we've been up since 6, and we're both tired, I succumbed to emotional eating and had a pain au chocolat. And I looked at it and I knew that it would not be as nice as the pain au chocolat that we have at home, but needs must. So I had it. It was really doughy. Was your pain au raisin nice? Yeah. And proper coffee. Although Phil would have it that he serves up proper coffee, and indeed he does. But our first hit of French coffee is always a pleasure. So I drove from, I didn't do any or much driving this trip. I did a bit of driving around Kent when we first got there, but I ended up not really being well enough to drive. I had somehow sprained my thumbs and really were hurting, and my eyes didn't want to be open, so I just didn't drive, and that has helped. So my thumbs have been rested for several days. I'm now able to drive again, and my eyes are working. I think I might have started reacting to the drops that my doctor gave me, which I've been using for about 3 months or more. So I've stopped using those. We'll see how that works out. So Mark drove all around Lincoln, as you saw, because I was able to vlog, and then we drove off towards Leicester yesterday to get onto the M1, which isn't the nearest route down to the south east, but Mark felt it would be preferable, which it was. The road that they want to send you down, I think it's only 2-lane and really crowded, whereas we came down a 4-lane motorway, and mostly the traffic was free flowing, and it added an hour to our journey, but it was worth it for the lack of stress, I suppose. And then I took over just before we came across into Kent, across the Queen Elizabeth II Bridge at Dartford Crossing. I took over there and drove us down to Ashford. We had the pleasure of doing a little bit of shopping in Ashford in a supermarket on a bank holiday weekend at the end of a Friday afternoon, which was full of screaming kids that didn't want to be shopping at the end of a Friday afternoon. So we've stayed in three Premier Inns. The first one this time was at Caversham Bridge, and we've stayed there before, I think, but the room was refurbished newly, with all new stuff. And it was a accessible room, so we always choose an accessible room which gives us a walk-in or shower or wet room.
1,100 metres onto the A28 towards Military Hall.
Correct. What she's saying, or whatever she's saying right, isn't she?
You don't know what she's saying.
Don't watch my hand movement, just do what she says. I'll just keep talking to my vlog.
Wave as much as you want.
I am waving.
You're going to ignore it.
So that was a nice room, king size bed as usual.
Now turn off to the right.
Oh, that is right, isn't it? was doing okay. I did. I was doing okay in the UK with right and left. Very well-ish. And then the hotel, the Premier Inn that we went to in Lincoln, was tired. And when we got there, because I had made a blunder with the booking, we weren't in an accessible room. But the problem was it was a double bed.
Gate ahead.
I spoke to the receptionist and said it's a double bed, and she said, "Oh yes, all our beds are double beds. It's a standard size." And I went, "No, it's not, because it isn't. We stay in Premier Inns all the time, and they're always king size." And then I talked about accessible rooms, so she showed us the accessible room, but that was still a double bed. So we thought, well, we're not going to move.
To the right after 500 meters onto the A28 towards Military Hall.
Oh, we're all coming across into your lane for some reason.
Thinks it's going to be quicker.
Well, they're all the same. We don't need quicker. So yes, for the last week we've been in a double bed, which we adapted to after the first night. First night wasn't very good, but after that we adapted and managed to stay away from each other at great expense. And then we came back to Ashford for this last night into an accessible room, and the bed was enormous. The room was enormous. Very clean, very nice, very enormous, but miles away from reception. And I'm sort of going to ask them when I feedback, what do you mean by accessible? Because once you've come in through reception, it is a long walk down 2 corridors to get to the room. And we did talk to them before we left reception, remembering before, is it by the fire escape? And they said yes. I said, well, we'll use the fire escape when we leave tomorrow. They said that's okay, we'll put a note on the system. So that's what we did. We parked next to the fire escape on last night when we came back from shopping. And left through the fire escape this morning. Nobody came running. So yeah, do need to find out what they mean by accessible, because you need to be reasonably fit to get to the room in Ashford.
Now drive to the right.
So I drove us down to the tunnel.
Please follow the road for 105 kilometers.
Drove us into the tunnel, onto the train. Very nice French guy was, I don't know what they're called, I suppose they're like attendants, like a flight attendant or something, came and spoke to us because we've got mobility stuff on our hangar, and I don't think we were loaded properly, so we weren't where we were meant to be if we'd got a mobility thing, and he was worried we'd got a wheelchair, and I tried to explain no, we're just not quite as mobile as other people. And then I drove a bit, and now Mark's taken over, and I've had a bit of a close of my eyes because they're very tired. And I expect we'll swap again in a bit. So it's very lovely to spend time with my son and his wife and my granddaughter. It felt like a nice long visit with them. I think Phil was itching to get back and do some work because it's half term next week, so he's limited to what he can do next week because Theo will be off school. And it was nice to see our other friends and family in Reading and in Kent. We've done a lot, and I'm really looking forward to being home. House sitters have had a good time. I've looked at the weather, and the weather for Saint Servan looked like they had some real horrendous downpours and hail and floods. And I messaged them the other day and I went, I'm sorry, we didn't plan the weather, but they've had sun. They've, you know, because sometimes that's what it is. It goes around us, the weather. So they've been able to sit in the garden. All the animals are fine and happy, and they're off today to carry on with whatever they're doing. They're going in different directions. I think they're husband and wife, but they have different plans for a week or two. So I think the plan is that she's going off for a jolly and he's got to take all the luggage. That's how it sounded. I'm looking forward to seeing Jazz and seeing how long the grass is. And Mark says he's going to sleep for 3 days.
So I am pondering an order of jobs to be done. Whether I cut the grass first or clean the car first or...
That it? Two jobs?
Actually, first is
Unpack.
give Jazz a cuddle.
Oh yeah, cuddle Jazz.
Yeah. So that she doesn't run away and get her arse bitten.
Yeah. I'm sure she's had a lovely time.
Yeah.
I wonder whether Ida has decided she prefers other people to give her bread now. Chickens won't care. They don't really have those sort of relationships. They won't know. I wonder how Mrs. Hopalong is, whether she's not so hoppy now. I hope there's some eggs left. I'm bringing bacon back illegally. We manage quite well with Protrine, actually. I'm not so bothered nowadays. We used to bring bacon back as a matter of course, but I don't.
You made bacon at one point.
I made bacon, didn't I? Yeah.
You got hold of some, what was it?
Pork. Belly
Yeah,
pork, and cured it.
Yeah, but you had to buy it. I forget the name of the
It
salt.
was some sort of
Potassium.
potassium.
Something.
Yeah, something. Anyway, I made bacon once. But yes, I've bought 2 big packs of bacon back just to give us a treat. And if there's eggs, I can do bacon, eggs, and hash browns at some point. But might be Sunday dinner, might be bacon, egg, and hash browns until I get myself back into cooking. And I bought cheese back illegally. So we've got Mrs. Satnav set up for home, and she's going to take us round Rouen. Be interested to see which way she takes us. I don't think we're going to fight it. I just think we're going to do it, aren't we?
I guess so.
Because you were trying to get the TomTom going, but it wouldn't.
Unless we can remember where we turn off. And
Yeah.
Go through the.
I mean, it's pretty.
marshmallows.
Yeah. It's yeah. Maybe.
I don't quite remember now.
No. So actually, I was saying to Mark about half an hour ago, when the sky was almost clear, it looks like we're going to have this lovely clear weather all the way down, but actually, as we travel down, it's getting cloudier and cloudier. I don't know what the weather forecast is. This is a journey that we used to do at least twice a year. We would come sort of in spring, and then we would come in autumn, and I think that was when Mum and Dad was still alive, and we were younger, and we would just do it. And now it's quite, not this particular journey, but the whole going back to the UK and the coming back and all of that, it is quite exhausting nowadays, and I'm not even sure that we'll do it again next year. I mean, it's a long way to go for chutney.
I expect Amazon to do chutney.
4 bottles of chutney he put in the trolley last
That was
night.
all I was allowed.
Well, and Phil had bought 4 bottles of chutney with him.
Yeah.
Surely that's enough.
You've got half a bottle left.
No, you haven't. I know what is. I know what's
I bet
happened.
you hid some
I know what's happened. They're not hidden. They're put away in their normal place. But if it's not standing going, hello, you can't see it because you don't look for things. Yep, I think there's at least 2 bottles left at home, plus whatever he's been using in the fridge. Yeah, it's a long way to come for chutney. So it was nice to get away from what seemed to be a mass of arrogant British drivers at the tunnel. It felt very pushy, and I know that's grouping everybody together as a stereotype, but
I think
there's a certain pushiness that we don't experience.
We thought they were pushing in from the left, and I'm sure they thought we were pushing in from the right.
No, not just those drivers, all of them. There was the whole jostling for the position going on before those. Yeah. So it's nice to get back here where it's society is a little more polite.
Driving down French roads like this, I've decided it's rather like, you know, when you've got a bath at just the right temperature and you slip into it, there's that faint pleasurable shock as you allow yourself to luxuriate.
Well, don't fall asleep in the bath, will you?
I never have before.
We didn't have a hot meal yesterday. We just had 2 grazing meals of not a lot really. Well, mine wasn't a lot, so I'm hoping that we might stop after Rouen and have a hot meal. But I haven't told Mark yet.
La 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 la.
Somebody commented, somebody that hasn't commented before, I don't think, and I can't remember your name, sorry, but about if you were to come back to England, that you would enjoy it at this, you know, enjoy the beauty at this time of year. It really was very pretty and verdant, the flat, you know, all the spring flowers, all the shrubs in flower. It really was very pretty and green. And cold and wet sometimes.
And I did actually rather like Lincoln city centre.
Yeah.
It's there's quite a lot of variety and small shops, and found a very good coffee place, and it's actually rather pleasant. And you know, places like Canterbury, where I used to live, I'm told there's a lot of closed shops, a bit shuttered up, and less vibrant, I suppose, than it used to be.
Did you get lost in Marks and Spencer's?
No. I knew where I was.
You knew where you were?
Yeah.
But nobody else
did.
No.
Didn't take the hammer on the changing room door.
I suppose they didn't expect you to go in a changing room.
Well, given the shape that I am, and I had to.
Yeah.
For a shirt and a pair of trousers.
It was like having, you know, it's a bit like having a lost child. The child doesn't know it's lost, but the parents are all going crazy looking for it. I wasn't going crazy because I know what he's like. I was where I was meant to be. They left me on the waterfront, and that's where I stayed. They came back to me and said, "Is Mark with you?" And I said no. So then Phil went back off to look for him. dragged him by the collar out of the changing room. Told him not to do it again. There. That's it. I can't imagine I'll do another one on the way down unless there's something very exciting to see, which, as you know, there won't be. Thanks for watching. Thanks for liking. Subscribe if you like it.